It's FBI profiling, 35% more money. Regular hours, not as unpredictable as these.
How are you gonna convince me to leave Detroit?
The National Guard and a drink. Alex Cross.
Got ourselves a Four Roses. Hey, Alex, you're gonna want to prepare yourself for this one. Woman was tortured to death.
I've been doing junkets for like 6 years. I've never got to sit across from you before.
Is that right?
I think you've been avoiding me.
Sitting across with Cross. Here we go.
Yes, sir. I like that.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, I think one of the really interesting themes that this movie explores is this idea that sometimes to do some right, you got to do a little bit of wrong. To do some good, you got to do a little bit of bad. Does that translate into this business? Have you ever had to do maybe a little bit of bad to do some good?
No, and I don't necessarily, it's interesting that you would find that. I don't necessarily believe that in life. I think that you just keep doing good and good comes to you no matter what. You always stay on the right path and do good. I think with Alex, the complexity of the situation that he got in, he decided, you know, I am going to, and this is a prequel, so this is very early on in his career. I don't think he'll ever do this again later on, but he got to a point where he wanted to have some revenge, and there was only one way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, what's interesting about Alex Cross is that he understands if you're going to be a cop, there's going to be an inherent danger, just an understood downside to the job, and that is the danger that you face. If you're going to be an actor, if you're going to be in this business, what is that inherent downside that you're going to have to accept?
For me, I don't know, because other people love it. There are lots of people who enjoy it, but the fame part of it, I don't enjoy as much.
Why is that?
I love making the movies. I'm a very private person, and I love my privacy. I love being able to go to the store and buy a gallon of milk and not end up on Twitter and the tabloids. You know, it's so that for me is the downside. But you know, you take that with it. You know, I don't want to go to. I tried to go to a restaurant, my favorite restaurant, to eat the other night, and there were 15 paparazzi outside. I had to go home and make a sandwich, you know, because I just didn't want to. I'm thinking, okay, what am I wearing? What are my shoes? What are they going to say about me? Is my haircut? I don't want to think about that crap.
Had to be at least 2 or 3 guys to pull this off.
No, this is one guy.
I'm fascinated by pain.
He's ex-military. Special forces, judging by his tactics. Trying to make somebody hurt. Wants somebody to pay, wants the world to suffer.
So obviously, I was just geeking out to you. In Lost, you had 6 years of time to get to know Dr. Jack Shephard. You had flashbacks, you had flash forwards. If you had had that kind of time, that kind of experience to get to know Picasso a little bit more, what aspects of his life do you think you'd like to maybe study a little bit more to get to know him?
No, that's a good one. And my answer to that would be, I really don't want to spend a whole lot more time exploring
this is just the right amount?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. You know, a character like Picasso doesn't exist in any kind of serial fashion. He's a one-time, he's a one-offer, you know. He only exists in a film thing. I couldn't even comprehend like that kind of role in a stage thing where you do it, you know. No, he was a very suited character for one film, and trying to orchestrate that performance within that, and I had a really fantastic time doing it.
So were you glad to have been able to walk away then? Were you glad to be able to turn that off?
Yes, very much, yeah.
Is it the most glad you've been able to walk away from a character?
I'm pretty happy to walk away from most of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, honestly, you know, when it's time, when it's finished, when the mosaic is done and the last shots are in and there's no more to do, I'm always really happy to sort of slide right back into my normal everyday life and be home and be with my family and do all the things that I personally like to do. And so, but he was kind of a special amount of energy that are required to play that particular role, and I was really ready when it was done.
Right. I would feel like a character like that would be so difficult because there's nothing relatable necessarily to draw from. Obviously, you have not a lot of similar aspects to Picasso, I'm imagining.
Right.
In your career, which role was the easiest because you had the most to relate to, and which one was the most difficult because you had the least to relate to?
Again, that's a good question. I don't really... I kind of personally just don't really approach it that way. I mean, I don't feel it necessary to have anything in my life that I can directly relate to the character. I mean, for me, it's just all about trying to create the illusion that's in my imagination. And, you know, for Picasso, who obviously is, you know, it's just polar opposites from who I am as a person, I just find that's what's really interesting to me about acting is is the sort of living in your imagination and imagining and trying to figure out all the aspects of who this person is, and then finding a way to try to create that illusion of that person using what you've got.
Right.
And, you know, that's really exciting to me.
This guy, he's checking off the list. He's focused. He's got a clear path.
Dr. Cross, are you there?
Are you having fun?
Inflicting pain is a crucial part of my true calling.
You are sick and twisted.
Dr. Cross, you're taking this personally. By the way, you have a very pretty wife. She looks stunning.
What I loved watching the movie is, like you said, it's very early in Alex's career, and he's never come across someone like Picasso before. He doesn't know how to handle it.
Right.
What was that first big moment in your life and in this business where you came across something and you just thought, I don't know how to handle something like this?
Oh, that's every day. That's that's every day. It takes a lot of prayer for me to deal with what happens in this business, how it happens, how things unfold. But I've learned a great deal over these last 6 or 7 years of just how, since my first movie, of how to navigate through this thing called Hollywood. So it's been pretty interesting.
Because, I mean, your journey has been such an incredible, well-documented journey that a lot of us are familiar with. You know, there's got to be a point where you just look back and think, how did I get here?
Yeah, well, that's always, and my thought in that is nothing but this couldn't have been anything but the grace of God, because there is no way that my life and where I come from and every statistic being against me, there was no way I'm supposed to be here, but for some reason here I am.
Right, and I'm a big fan that you attribute it to the grace of God, and that you're very open about prayer in a period of time in which I feel like a lot of times we have to pull back talking about things like that in public. Yeah. Is it important for you to maybe push it even a little bit further?
No, I'm not trying to push it any further than this is just what I believe and who I am. I'm not trying to be in anybody's face. I respect everybody for what they believe. I just want them to respect me for what I believe. And when you ask that question, that is my truth. So just giving my truth.
Absolutely. Now, obviously a lot of people know Alex Cross is originally being played by Morgan Freeman.
Who was the voice of God.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Tie into that one. If things were gonna kind of be reversed and Morgan Freeman was gonna play an old Tyler Perry character, which one would you like to see him play?
Oh, Joe. He should be Joe.
I would like to, with that voice,
Joe. Yeah,
that would be incredible.
Yeah.
What do we need to do to make that happen?
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. He's well above it. That's well below his pay grade.
I don't believe it. I'll pitch in.
Yeah,
I got like $8 in my pocket, man. I'll help out a little bit. Mr. Perry, seriously, it's an honor to get to sit across from you. I appreciate your time. You ever come to Houston? My fold-out couch is open to you, my friend.
I'll keep that in mind.
Please do.
Okay,
An honor, sir. Thank you so much.
He won't stop. I've seen his face. I've heard his voice. I will meet his soul at the gates of hell before I let him take a person that I love from me.
There is not one scenario that you have thought of that he has not already figured out.
I'm going to enjoy this.
You have to try to justify some of the things. In his mind, what he's doing is the right thing. Do you have to kind of try to talk yourself into the justification of it?
I mean, that's the most important part of being an actor, I think, is that no matter how despicable of an individual you're playing,
right. How do you justify something like that, man?
You ultimately have to find a way of absolutely justifying it, and you have to completely, and with as much of yourself as you can bring to it, you have to defend that position. And, you know, that's what I did with him, is ultimately you become the defender of that at all costs.
Right. What I loved about him was that how focused and how unwilling to deviate from his job he was.
Yeah.
When you take a role like that, do you kind of have to be that way? Do you have to be focused? Do you have to be unwilling to deviate? Or do you have to be willing to kind of maneuver around a little bit?
Well, acting requires, it's ultimately a dance, and you have partners you're dancing with, so... you know, yes, the answer to your question is yes on both counts. I mean, you do have to take on that kind of focus, and you have to create that kind of vibrating energy within yourself that I thought that this guy would have, and that sort of singularity of focus. I mean, just just compulsive and obsessive compulsive and laser focused on what he wants to accomplish, and at the same time, you've got this entire group of people out there that are all shooting for the same goal of creating this illusion. So you have to be flexible enough to operate within that and maintain the truth of the focus for the guy that you're defending. And so it's a little bit of both.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, give me the wrap, Mr. Fox. I could talk to you all day. Hopefully the questions weren't too weird. I was just trying to throw out some stuff out there.
I've got to get inside his head. Where would he be?
He's already in the building. Move!
You can do better than that.